The night before my wedding, my family is putting on their finest clothes for my sister's ceremony. I stand on a castle balcony, facing camera lenses and millions of strangers waiting for me to speak. Tonight, I refuse the title of the spare child. This is not just a wedding. It is a live broadcast of my freedom. And my family can only watch if they have the courage to see what they have truly lost. My name is Maggie Grant. And right now, I am staring at a reflection I barely recognize in the tarnished vintage mirror of my small apartment in Port Brighton. The tulle of the veil is soft against my collarbone, a delicate cascade of ivory that I picked up from a thrift store 2 days ago for $40. It is not designer, it is not silk imported from France, but as I turn my head, catching the way the afternoon light filters through the cheap polyester lace, I feel a rare, fragile flutter of beauty. For a singular second, I allow myself to feel like a bride. Then the phone on the vanity begins to buzz. It is not a polite ring. It is a violent, insistent vibration that rattles against the wood, shattering the moment. The screen lights up, flashing names that usually bring a complex mix of duty and dread. But today, I foolishly expect love. Mom, Dad, Aunt Linda, Cousin Megan. It is a video call from the Grant Family Updates group chat. My heart gives a traitorous leap. They must have received the save the date cards I mailed out 3 days ago. I imagine them calling to gush over the design. The simple watercolor olive branches I painted myself by hand to save money on printing. I imagine my mother actually smiling, perhaps wiping a tear. Finally acknowledging that her youngest daughter is stepping into a spotlight of her own. I swipe to answer, my finger trembling slightly. I fix a smile on my face, adjusting the veil so they can see it. Hi everyone, I was just… Maggie, stop. My mother's voice cuts through the airwaves before I can even finish my breath. The screen stabilizes. My mother, Denise, is sitting in her pristine beige living room. Her face set in that tight, pinched expression she wears when a waiter brings her the wrong wine. Next to her, my father, Greg, looks everywhere but at the camera lens. We need to talk about the date, Mom says. There is no greeting, no hello, no, you look pretty. Her tone is not a question. It is a gavel striking a sounding block. My smile falters, twitching at the corners. The date? You mean October 14th? Did you get the cards? I know it is close to the holidays, but… It is not about the holidays. Margaret, Dad interrupts, his voice gruff. He clears his throat, shifting in his leather armchair. It is about the conflict. Brooke has set her date. I blink, confused. Brooke? But Brooke got engaged 6 months after me. She has not even picked a venue yet. She has now, Mom says, smoothing the front of her blouse. And the venue only had one opening left for the entire season. It is a sign, really, the Sapphire Sands Resort. You know the one? Maggie. The one with the cliffside terrace overlooking the ocean. I know it. It is the most expensive, exclusive venue 3 towns over. It costs more for a plate of appetizers there than my entire wedding budget. That is great for her, I say, though a cold knot is forming in my stomach. But what does that have to do with my date? The silence on the other end stretches for 5 agonizing seconds. She booked October 14th, Dad says. The air leaves my lungs. October 14th? Dad, that is my date. That is the date I told you guys about 4 months ago. The date Miles and I put deposits down for. We know, Mom says, waving her hand dismissively as if swatting away a gnat. But listen to reason. Maggie, Brooke's wedding. Well, it is going to be a significant social event. The mayor is on the guest list. Her fiancé's business partners are flying in from London. It is a massive production. It is formal. It is grand. She pauses, her eyes scanning my pixelated face, judging the cheap veil I'm still wearing. Your wedding, she continues, her voice dropping to that patronizing register she uses when explaining things to a child, is going to be lovely. I am sure, but it is small, intimate, rustic. It is not the same caliber of event. It makes the most sense for you to be the one to shift. My hands are gripping the edge of the vanity so hard my knuckles are turning the color of bone. Shift? You want me to cancel my wedding? Not cancel, Mom corrects sharply. Postpone. Just move it to spring, or a Friday in November. It is really not that serious. Maggie, it is just a party. You do not want to force people to choose, do you? Force people to choose? I repeat, my voice sounding hollow to my own ears. Mom, I have non-refundable deposits. I have vendors booked. Why can't Brooke choose another day? She just booked it. I have had this date for months. Because the Sapphire Sands is fully booked for 2 years, Mom snaps, losing her patience. This was a miracle opening. We cannot pass this up just because you are stubborn about a specific Saturday. Then, the screen splits. Brooke joins the call. She looks radiant. Of course, perfect lighting, perfect hair, sitting in what looks like a spa robe. Mom, did you tell her yet? Brooke asks, her voice sugary sweet, but laced with arsenic. She looks at me in the corner of her screen. Oh, hey Mags, look, do not be weird about this, okay? Mom is right. My wedding is, like, the wedding. It is a whole weekend experience. Yours is, well, yours is cute. It is charming. But day of the week does not really matter for what you are doing. It will still be cute on a Sunday. Cute. The word lands like a slap. My entire relationship, my commitment, my planning, reduced to cute, a hobby project, a kindergarten finger painting held up next to a masterpiece. I look at them. My father, refusing to meet my eyes. My mother, annoyed that I'm making this difficult. My sister, glowing with the absolute certainty that the world revolves around her axis. And if I do not change it? I ask. The question hangs there. I need to hear them say it. I need them to articulate the thing they have been showing me my entire life. If I keep my date, I say, speaking slowly and clearly, if I get married on October 14th as planned, what happens? Silence. Absolute, deafening silence. Finally, Dad sighs. Maggie, honey, be reasonable. We cannot miss Brooke's wedding. It is at a resort. Rooms are booked. It is a destination. We will make it up to you. Mom interjects quickly, sensing the precipice we are standing on. We will throw you a lovely reception later, maybe a backyard barbecue at our house in the spring. We can get those nice string lights you like. It will be a backyard barbecue, to make up for missing my wedding. I say, my voice trembling not with sadness, but with a sudden, icy clarity. What you are saying is, if I do not move my wedding for Brooke, none of you are coming, not one of you. One day you will understand, Mom says, her tone finalizing the transaction. Brooke's wedding is just more important. Maggie, it is higher stakes. It is better for the family image. Don't be selfish. Selfish, I whisper. Just move the date, Mags, Brooke chimes in, checking her nails. Honestly, nobody is going to drive 2 hours to your little venue when there is an open bar and a live orchestra at mine. I am saving you the embarrassment. I look at the veil in the mirror. I look at the family on the screen. For 26 years, I have bent. I have folded myself into small shapes to fit in the cracks left behind by Brooke's brilliance. I have taken the scraps of affection and called them a feast. But today, looking at their expectant faces, waiting for me to apologize for inconveniencing them with my existence, something inside me snaps. It is not a loud snap. It is the quiet sound of a tether being cut. Thank you, I say. Mom blinks. Thank you? So you agree? No, I say. Thank you for finally being honest. You have made your choice. You have made it very clear where I stand. Maggie, do not be dramatic, Mom starts. I press the red button. The screen goes black. I sit there in the silence of my apartment. I wait for the tears. I wait for the sobbing, the heaving chest, the devastation of a daughter rejected. But the tears do not come. Instead, There is a coldness spreading through my veins, a numbing agent that turns the pain into something hard and sharp. I stand up and walk to the window. I am not crying. I am vibrating with a rage so pure it feels like power. The door creates a clicking sound as it unlocks. Miles walks in, shaking rain off his jacket. He is humming a tune, carrying a bag of takeout from our favorite Thai place. "Hey, babe, I got extra peanut sauce for—" He stops. He drops the bag on the counter. He sees my face. He sees the phone clutched in my hand like a weapon. He sees the veil, slightly crooked now, casting a shadow over my eyes. "Maggie?" He crosses the room in 3 strides, his hands gripping my shoulders. "What happened? You are white as a sheet. Is everyone okay?" I look up at him. Miles, with his kind eyes and his unwavering belief that I am the sun in his sky. Miles, who has never once asked me to shrink. "They are not coming," I say. My voice is steady, flat. "Brooke booked her wedding for October 14th. Mom told me to move mine. They said Brooke's is a social event, and mine is just cute. They said if I do not move it, they are all going to the resort. They offered me a backyard barbecue as a consolation prize." Miles freezes. His hands tighten on my shoulders, warm and grounding. He stares at me, processing the cruelty of it. He waits for me to say I am joking. When he realizes I am not, his jaw sets, a muscle feathers in his cheek. He stays silent for 10 seconds. I count them. 1, 2, 3. Then he exhales, a long, controlled breath through his nose. "We are not moving the date," he says. His voice is low, lacking any hesitation. "They won't come, Miles," I say. "My parents, my sister, my aunts, none of them." "Good," Miles says, and the ferocity in his eyes startles me. "Because they do not deserve to be there. They think this is a game? They think your life is just a rehearsal for your sister's big show?" He reaches up and gently straightens my veil, his fingers brushing my cheek with a tenderness that makes my throat tight. "If they think your wedding is a small matter," Miles says, his voice rising with a protective intensity that makes the air in the room crackle, "then we are going to show them that your small matter is the thing the entire world stops to watch. We are not just going to have a wedding, Maggie. We are going to have a revolution." Standing in the kitchen with Miles, the silence of the apartment feels different now. It is no longer the quiet of peace. It is the silence of a library after a book has been slammed shut. Miles is pacing, his energy kinetic and angry, but I am standing perfectly still. My mind is not in this room anymore. It is drifting backward, traversing a map of old wounds that I have spent a lifetime trying to fold up and hide in a drawer. The truth is, the phone call was not a shock. It was an inevitability. It was the final destination of a road we have been traveling since I was old enough to understand that in the solar system of the Grant family, my sister Brooke was the sun, and I was merely a small, cold moon orbiting in her shadow. I close my eyes, and I am 16 years old again. It is my 16th birthday. We are at a nice Italian restaurant, the kind with white tablecloths and heavy silverware. I have been looking forward to this dinner for months. I have ordered the carbonara, and I'm waiting for the waiter to bring the dessert menu because I have been dreaming about the tiramisu. I'm wearing a blue dress that I bought with my own babysitting money. I feel grown up. I feel seen. Then, my mother checks her watch. "We have to wrap this up," she says, signaling for the check before I can even ask for the dessert. Brooke has the Miss Teen Tri-State pageant tomorrow morning. She needs her beauty sleep. She needs to steam her sash. She needs to practice her talent portion one last time. I remember looking at my half-finished pasta. I remember the waiter pausing, confused, as my father threw a credit card onto the table with the haste of someone fleeing a crime scene. "But it is my birthday," I had whispered. Brooke had sighed, rolling her eyes, tossing her blonde hair over her shoulder. "Oh my God. Maggie, do not be such a brat. The pageant is a scholarship opportunity. It is my future. We can eat cake anytime." We left. I sat in the back seat of the minivan, holding my birthday card, which contained a $20 bill, while Brooke sat in the front seat adjusting the air conditioning because the temperature had to be perfect for her vocal cords. We went home, and the house went dark by 9 o'clock, so Brooke could rest. I ate a stale cupcake from the school cafeteria alone in my bedroom with the door shut, blowing out a single match because I did not have a candle. That was the pattern. That was the rule. Flash forward. 6 years. I am 22. I am graduating from college with honors. I have worked 2 jobs to pay for my textbooks. I have pulled all-nighters in the library until my eyes burned. I am the first one in my immediate friend group to get a degree in hospitality management. I have invited everyone to a party at a local bistro to celebrate. I have paid the deposit myself. 3 days before the graduation, my mother calls. "We cannot make the party." Maggie. Why? Brooke got engaged. I remember staring at the wall of my dorm room, clutching the receiver. "That is amazing," I had said, my voice automatic, trained to offer praise before processing pain. But the party is Saturday. The engagement does not stop you from eating dinner with me. They are doing the engagement photo shoot that weekend. Mom explained. The photographer had a last-minute cancellation. It is the only time the light will be right at the botanical gardens. And you know Brooke. She needs us there to hold the reflector and help with outfit changes. "But I am graduating," I said. "Maggie, honey," Mom said, her voice dropping to that reasonable, soothing tone that always made me feel like I was the crazy one. "A graduation happens every year. People graduate all the time. An engagement is once in a lifetime. It is special. We will send you a nice card." They did send a card. It arrived 2 weeks late. Inside, there was a $50 check and a printed newsletter about Brooke's upcoming nuptials. This is the architecture of my life. My milestones were always inconvenient roadblocks on Brooke's parade route. Even my career, the one thing I built entirely for myself, was filtered through their lens of dismissal. When I got promoted to senior event lead at Lumentide Events last year, it was a massive deal. I beat out 3 other candidates. I was responsible for budgets worth hundreds of thousands of dollars. I called my mother, bursting with pride. "Good job." She had texted back, 2 words. Then, immediately following those 2 words, a paragraph appeared. A long, detailed description of Brooke's new diamond ring, how many carats it was, how her friends were screaming when they saw it, how the light hit it in the restaurant. It was never malicious in the way a villain in a movie is malicious. They did not lock me in a cupboard. They fed me. They clothed me. They just dimmed me. They created a narrative, a family lore that we all recited. "Brooke belongs in the spotlight," they would say, patting my hand. "And you, Maggie, you are so good at the background stuff. You are the support system. You are the rock." They dressed it up as a compliment. They called it being reliable. They called it being low maintenance. But what they really meant was that I was the stagehand. My job was to sweep the floor, set the props, and make sure the lighting was perfect so that Brooke could shine. In my professional life, I am a magician. I take abandoned warehouses with peeling paint and concrete floors, and I turn them into enchanted forests with hanging wisteria and floating candles. I take windswept, barren rooftops and turn them into chic, high society lounges. I understand structure, flow, engineering, and psychology. I negotiate contracts with vendors who are notorious sharks. I manage crises when the power goes out or the caterer gets a flat tire. But to my family, my job is decorating. "Oh, Maggie just hangs streamers for people," Dad tells his golf buddies. "She cleans up after the party is over. It is cute." Cute, that word again. The weapon they used to decapitate my achievements. For years, I told myself I was imagining it. I told myself I was being overly sensitive. I told myself that every family has a star, and I should be grateful to be the moon. I convinced myself that their love was just packaged differently for me. But the phone call today ripped the packaging off. When my mother said, "Brooke's wedding is more important," she was not slipping up. She was not speaking out of turn. She was saying the quiet part out loud. She was reading the headline of the manifesto they have been writing since the day I was born. There's a strange physical sensation that comes with this realization. You would think it would feel like a weight crushing you, but it feels the opposite. It feels like gravity has suddenly released its hold. I look down at my hands. These hands have carried heavy boxes, rigged lighting trusses, and pinned delicate lace on nervous brides. These hands are strong. I have spent 26 years being the flexible one, the one who changes her birthday dinner time, the one who cancels her graduation party, the one who smiles when her promotion is ignored. I was the child they could edit out of the scene if the frame was too crowded. I look at Miles. He's watching me, waiting for me to speak. He expects me to be sad. He expects me to need comfort. But I do not need comfort. I need a strategy. For the first time in my life, I see my position clearly. They think they have punished me by choosing Brooke. They think that by threatening to boycott my wedding, they are taking something away from me. They think I will beg. They think I will scramble to find a Tuesday in November, just to have the privilege of them sitting in the front row, checking their watches, waiting for the reception to be over so they can talk about Brooke. They are wrong. By choosing her, they have accidentally set me free. If I am second class to them, then I am no longer bound by their first-class rules. If I am the spare child, then I am not essential to their narrative. And if I am not essential, then I can go rogue. I feel a smile tugging at the corner of my mouth. It is not a happy smile. It is the smile of someone who has just found the exit door in a burning building. Miles, I say, and my voice is steady, grounded in the reality of every canceled birthday and every overlooked achievement. Do you remember that venue in Vermont? The one I told you about? Silverhaven Castle. Miles blinks, surprised by the shift. The one on the lake? The one you said was out of our league? Nothing is out of our league anymore, I say. I am done being the stagehand. Miles, I am done sweeping the stage for Brooke. It is time I directed my own show. I walk over to my laptop and flip it open. The screen glows, illuminating the dusty apartment. I am not crying over the family I lost. I am getting ready to introduce them to the woman they never bothered to meet. I am not the flexible Maggie anymore. I am the Maggie who turns empty, broken spaces into something spectacular, and I have 12 days to turn my rejection into a masterpiece. You are looking at this wrong, Miles says. He is leaning against the kitchen counter, his arms crossed over his chest, watching me with an intensity that burns through the haze of my shock. You are looking at this like a bride who just lost her venue. Stop thinking like a bride, Maggie. Think like the person who turned a flooded basement into a Parisian lounge in 6 hours. You are a genius at this. You make magic out of disasters for a living. He walks over to the table and taps his finger against the closed lid of my laptop. They want to make you feel small, he says, his voice low and dangerous. So do not be small. Be massive. Be unavoidable. Turn our wedding into something they will never forget, even if they are sitting 200 miles away at a resort pretending we do not exist. I stare at the silver aluminum of the laptop case. A spark ignites in the base of my spine, hot and electric. It is the same feeling I get when a client hands me an impossible deadline and a zero-sum budget. It is the thrill of the solve. I flip the laptop open. The screen blazes to life. I am not Maggie the daughter right now. I am Maggie Grant, senior event lead, and I have a crisis to manage. The client is me, and the objective is total domination. 12 days, I say, my fingers hovering over the keyboard. We have 12 days. We can do it in 10, Miles says, pulling a chair up beside me. I open my contacts database. It is a digital Rolodex I have built over 5 years of blood, sweat, and panic attacks. I scroll past the florists and the caterers, looking for the heavy hitters, the people who owe me, the people who are hungry. Silverhaven Castle, I whisper, typing the name into the search bar. It is a Gothic revival structure sitting on the edge of a glassy lake in Vermont. It has stone turrets, ivy-covered walls, and a grand staircase that looks like it was carved out of a fantasy novel. I organized a charity gala there 2 years ago. The owner, Eleanor, was desperate to get into the luxury wedding market, but she was too far off the beaten path. I dial her personal cell number. It is 9 o'clock at night, but in the event world, sleep is a myth. Maggie? Eleanor answers on the second ring, sounding surprised. Eleanor, I have a proposition, I say, skipping the pleasantries. I need the castle. I need the entire grounds, the ballroom, and the master suite, and I need it for the weekend of October 14th. There is a pause. Maggie, that is 12 days away. We are technically closed for the season. We have a skeleton crew. I do not need a full staff, I say, my voice crisp and professional. I have my own team. Here is the deal. I am getting married, but this is not just a wedding. I'm going to turn it into a live production. I am bringing in a full film crew, drones, professional lighting, and I'm going to live stream it on a major platform. I will guarantee you 2 million eyes on your property. I will make Silverhaven the most coveted venue in New England by Monday morning. 2 million? Eleanor sounds skeptical. My family is boycotting the wedding, I say, dropping the bait. It is a scandal. People love a scandal, Eleanor, but they love a comeback story even more. I am going to give them Cinderella with a backbone. Do you want your castle to be the backdrop for that? Or do you want it to sit empty? Silence stretches for 3 seconds. I can hear her calculating the marketing value. If you give me the credit on the screen, Eleanor says slowly, a watermark, bottom right corner, Silverhaven Castle, and a link in the description. Done, I say. I want the venue fee waived, and I need access starting Wednesday for load-in. You have got it, she says. Make me famous, Maggie. I hang up and immediately highlight the row in my spreadsheet green. Step 1 complete. Venue secured. Cost, $0. Value, $40,000. Next, Northlight Studio. I call Marcus, the lead cinematographer. He owes me. I saved his reputation last winter when a blizzard knocked out the power at a senator's anniversary party, and I sourced 3 industrial generators in 45 minutes. Marcus, I say when he picks up, October 14th, I am cashing in the chip. I am booked, Maggie, he groans. I have a corporate retreat. Cancel it, I command. I do not need a videographer, Marcus. I need a director. I am not making a wedding video. I am making a film. I want 3 camera setups, 1 crane for the wide shots of the lake, 1 Steadicam for the aisle, 1 fixed lens on the altar. I want cinematic color grading. Live on the fly. I want it to look like a movie, not a broadcast. 3 cameras? Marcus asks, his interest piqued. Who is the client? Me, I say. And I am giving you total creative freedom. No shot lists from a nagging mother-in-law. No bad lighting. I am lighting it myself. It will be your demo reel for the next 10 years. I can hear him smiling through the phone. I will bring the big lens, he says. The 85mm. The one that makes everything look like a dream sequence. Bring the drone too, I add. I want an aerial shot as I exit the castle. Done, he says. I hang up, highlight the row green. Next, distribution. A wedding is only a revolution if people see it. I type in Valora Live. They are a new streaming platform based in Seattle, trying to compete with the giants by offering high-definition, low-latency streams for live events. They have been spamming my agency for months, looking for a flagship event to prove their technology can handle high traffic without crashing. I find the email of their vice president of marketing, a woman named Sarah. I do not call her. I write an email. Subject line, the viral event you have been waiting for. I type furiously. I outline the narrative arc, the rejected bride, the castle, the countdown, the ultimatum. I promise them engagement. I promise them a chat room that will catch fire. I ask for a homepage takeover for the North American region. I hit send. 3 minutes later, my phone rings. It is a Seattle area code. This is Sarah from Valora Live, the voice says. She sounds breathless. Is this real? Is this a real story? It is happening in 12 days, I say. Do you want the exclusive rights? We will build a custom landing page, Sarah says, her words tumbling out fast. We will put a countdown clock on the banner. We can enable a virtual guest book feature we have been beta testing. Users can sign in and leave messages in real time. We can even overlay graphics. What if we put a hashtag on the screen? No hashtag, I say. Just the countdown and a title. What is the title? She asks. I look at Miles. He is watching me work, a look of pure awe on his face. The Grant Wedding, I say. Simple. Let my family see their name in lights and know they are not invited to the show. I love it, Sarah says. I will have my tech team contact you in the morning to run a bandwidth test at the castle. I hang up, highlight the row green. I lean back in my chair. Exhaling a breath I feel like I've been holding since childhood. My heart is racing, not with panic, but with the adrenaline of execution. Get me my sketchbook, I tell Miles. He hands me the leather-bound pad I use for drafting. I grab a charcoal pencil and flip to a fresh page. I start to draw. I am not drawing a wedding. I am storyboarding a sequence. I sketch the layout of the Silverhaven courtyard. I mark the position of the sun at 4 o'clock in the afternoon. It will be low in the sky, casting long, dramatic shadows against the gray stone. Camera 1 goes here, I mutter, marking an X on the paper. Low angle, looking up at the staircase, it needs to make the castle look imposing, but me look stronger. I sketch the lighting plan. I do not want flat, bright wedding lights. I want contrast. I want atmosphere. I draw lines representing amber uplighting against the stone walls to warm up the cold slate. I sketch a pathway of hundreds of candles leading to the altar. When I walk out, I say to Miles, tracing the path of the bride with my pencil, I do not want to walk to the traditional wedding march. It is too soft. What do you want? Miles asks. I want silence, I say. Just the sound of the wind and the lake for the first 10 seconds, then strings, a cello, something deep and resonant. I want the audience to lean in. I draw the drone path. It will start high, looking down at the castle to establish the scale, the isolation of it, the grandeur. Then it will swoop down, gliding over the water, catching the reflection of the autumn leaves, before rising up to meet me on the balcony. I circle the balcony on the sketch. This is the money shot, I say, tapping the paper. The vow exchange. We stand here, with the lake behind us, the sun sets right there. I draw a circle on the horizon. If we time it right, the golden hour will hit the veil exactly when we say, I do. Miles looks at the drawing. It is a mess of lines and arrows to anyone else, but to me, it is a battle plan. You are scary when you are working, he says, smiling. I am efficient, I correct him. I turn the page and start a list of logistics: generator capacity, bandwidth requirements, liability insurance, catering for the crew. I am calculating amp loads in my head. I am visualizing the cable runs so they are invisible to the cameras. I am estimating the wind speed off the lake and how it will affect the audio recording. For the first time in my life, my obsession with detail is not a service I am performing for someone else. It is not something I am doing to make Brooke look good. It is a weapon I am sharpening for myself. I look at the list of tasks. It is impossible. It is a month of work compressed into less than 2 weeks. It is a logistical nightmare. And it is perfect. I pick up my phone and send a text to Tessa, my business partner. Clear your schedule. We have a castle to rig, and bring the industrial steamer. Then I send one to Noor, my design lead. I need 3,000 candles. I need heavy velvet drapes. I need the structure to look like a fortress, not a garden party. Can you source vintage iron candelabras by Tuesday? The replies come back instantly. On it. I close the sketchbook. I look at the clock. It is almost midnight. My family thinks I am at home crying. They think I'm looking at calendars, trying to find a Tuesday in November that works for Brooke's schedule. They think I am defeated. They have no idea that I have just become the executive producer of my own life. Miles, I say, standing up and stretching my back. Go get the champagne, the cheap stuff in the fridge. Are we celebrating? He asks. No, I say, walking to the window and looking out at the city lights. We are launching. I can see the production in my mind. I can see the cuts. I can see the color palette. I can see the moment the live stream goes live and the number of viewers ticks upward. I can see my parents' faces when they realize that while they were busy securing their spot at a resort, I was busy building a kingdom. They wanted a show? I am going to give them the greatest show on earth, and the best part is, they are not on the guest list. They are just the audience. The next morning, the air in Port Brighton smells like rain and fabric softener. I climb the narrow, creaking staircase to the second floor of a brick building on 4th Street. The sign on the door is frosted glass, etched with the words, Lumentide Events, below us. The industrial washing machines of the laundromat are rumbling, sending a low vibration through the floorboards that I have always found strangely comforting. It is the hum of work getting done. I push the door open. The office is really just a converted loft, with exposed beams and 3 desks jammed together in a triangle formation. It is messy, chaotic, and smells intensely of espresso and dried lavender. Tessa, my business partner and the person who knows my coffee order better than I do, is typing furiously on a mechanical keyboard. Noor, our design lead, is currently standing on her chair, pinning a swatch of velvet to the mood board on the wall. I drop my bag on the floor. It lands with a heavy thud. Morning, Tessa says without looking up. We have a crisis with the floral supplier for the Miller wedding. They sent hydrangeas instead of peonies. I am about to commit a felony. Forget the Miller wedding, I say. My voice is loud, cutting through the hum of the dryer downstairs. Tessa stops typing. She spins her chair around. Noor freezes, a pin still held between her lips. They look at me, sensing the shift in atmospheric pressure. I am not the Maggie who walked out of here yesterday. We have a new priority, I announce, walking to the whiteboard and erasing the weekly schedule with a single, wide swipe of the eraser. We have 12 days to create the most watched castle wedding in the history of the United States. Tessa lifts her mug to her lips, takes a sip, and then immediately chokes. She coughs, sputtering coffee onto her desk, her eyes watering. I am sorry, Tessa wheezes, wiping her chin. Did you say castle? And 12 days? Who is the client? Are they on drugs? The client is me, I say. Noor spits the pin out of her mouth and into her hand. She jumps down from the chair, her eyes widening. You? But the resort? The family thing? The family thing is over, I say. I lean against the whiteboard, crossing my arms. They chose Brooke. They are boycotting my date. So, I moved the date to a castle in Vermont, and we are live streaming it to the world. The room goes silent for a beat. I can see the gears turning in their heads. They know my family. They know the stories. They know about the birthday dinners and the graduation snubs. Slowly, a grin spreads across Noor's face. It is a terrifying, beautiful grin. She runs her hands through her curly hair. Finally, she whispers, I have been waiting for you to snap for 3 years. Finally, we have a client who is crazy in the exact way we need. This is not a pity party, I warn them, walking over to the central table. This is a production. We have Silverhaven Castle. We have a film crew. We have a streaming platform. But I need the look. I need the soul. Tessa is already recovering, her fingers flying across her iPad. Okay, I am in. If we are doing a castle, we stay away from the Disney cliché. No pumpkin carriages, no pastels. Exactly, I say. Miles and I talked about it. The concept is modern castle vow. It is not about a princess waiting in a tower to be rescued. It is about the queen who took the kingdom for herself. It needs to feel strong, elemental. Champagne and warm gold, Tessa says, nodding as she pulls up a color palette. But deep tones, maybe some slate gray to match the stone, and candles, not just a few votives, I mean aggressive amounts of candlelight. I can do a hanging installation, Noor interrupts, her hands moving in the air as if she is sculpting the space. We use the main hall. I will suspend amaranthus and dried ruscus from the rafters. We will light the stone walls from below so the texture pops. It will look ancient but sharp. High contrast. Very editorial. Do it, I say. Empty the warehouse. If we have it in stock, use it. If we do not, buy it. I am emptying my savings account. No need, Noor says, already sketching on a pad. I know a guy who has a surplus of vintage brass candelabras he is dying to offload. I will get them for pennies. We fall into a rhythm. It is the rhythm of the agency on the attic, the scrappy energy that built this company from nothing. We yell ideas across the desks. We pass tablets back and forth. We are not just colleagues. We are a phalanx. Dress, Tessa says suddenly, looking at me. You cannot wear the one you bought, the lace one. It is too sweet. It will get swallowed up by the stone walls. I know, I say. I need something else, but I have no time for alterations. Call Ivy, Noor says. I hesitate. Ivy Marino is a local legend, a brilliant but reclusive designer who works out of a studio that used to be a garage. She is expensive, and she usually has a 6-month waiting list. She owes you for referring the senator's daughter, Tessa reminds me. Call her. I dial Ivy. She answers on the first ring, sounding like she has a mouthful of pins. Maggie Grant, Ivy says. I heard a rumor. News travels fast, I say. The industry is small, darling. I heard you are going rogue. I heard you are taking over Silverhaven. I want in. I need a dress, Ivy, and I need it in 12 days. Get your ass over here, she says. Now. I leave Tessa and Noor coordinating the logistics and drive 10 minutes to Ivy's studio. The space is stark white, filled with rolls of silk and chiffon. Ivy is a tiny woman with sharp glasses and hair dyed a violent shade of violet. She does not say hello. She circles me like a shark, eyes scanning my body. Forget structure, she mutters. Forget corsets. You need movement. You are going to be outside, on the stone? Yes, I say. And wind. There will be wind off the lake. Good, Ivy says. She grabs a bolt of fabric. It is a heavy silk crepe, the color of heavy cream with a subtle gold sheen. Take off your clothes. Put on this slip. I do as I'm told. Ivy begins to work. She does not sew. She sculpts. She pins the fabric directly onto me, pulling and pleating. She creates a deep V neckline that feels daring, then lets the fabric pool around my feet. We are going to add a cape, she decides, grabbing a sheer, shimmering tulle. Attached at the shoulders, when you walk, it will trail behind you like mist, no veil. The cape is the veil. She stands back, looking at her creation. I look in the huge 3-way mirror. The woman staring back at me does not look like the Maggie who apologizes for taking up space. She looks like a statue come to life. You are not walking down an aisle, Ivy whispers, adjusting a fold at my waist. You are walking into a cinematic frame. This fabric, it will catch the light from the candles. It will glow. When people see you, I want them to stop breathing for a second. It is perfect, I say, my voice thick. It is revenge, Ivy corrects me, smiling. Wear it like armor. I drive back to the office, feeling lighter. When I walk in, there are 3 new people in the room. It is the team from Valora Live. They have set up a projector and are casting a laptop screen onto the wall. Sarah, the marketing VP I spoke to, stands up. She looks younger than I expected, wearing a hoodie and jeans. Maggie, she says, shaking my hand vigorously, we have been brainstorming all morning. Look at this. She points to the wall. It is a mock-up of the live stream landing page. The background is a looping, black and white video of waves crashing against rocks. In the center, a gold countdown clock is ticking down the seconds. 11 days, 14 hours, 22 minutes. We built a waiting room, Sarah explains. People can join now and sign up for notifications. And we added a chat feature. But here is the kicker. She hits a key. An overlay appears on the bottom of the screen. It is a simple text graphic, elegant serif font. Some families choose favorites. She chose herself. I stare at the words. They are brutal. They are true. Too much? Sarah asks, watching my face. No, I say softly. It is exactly right. We want to launch the teaser, Tessa says from her desk. She spins her monitor around. I cut this together using the stock footage from the gala you did at Silverhaven, mixed with that clip of you trying on the dress just now. Ivy sent me a video. I watch the screen. It is 30 seconds long. It starts with a drone shot of the castle, looming and majestic, surrounded by autumn trees. The music is a slow, rhythmic drumbeat. Then, a fast cut to me, standing in Ivy's studio, the gold silk billowing around me, a close-up of my eyes. Text on screen, the wedding they missed. Cut to the empty ballroom of the castle. Text on screen, the vow. The world will witness. Cut to the date, October 14th, live on Valora. And then, a voiceover. It is my voice. Tessa must have pulled it from a voicemail I left her last night. I am done being the spare. The screen goes black. Holy cow, Noor says. I have goosebumps. Post it, I say. Tessa hits enter. We stand there for a moment, the four of us and the Valora team, staring at the screen. It feels like we just launched a missile. Now we wait, Tessa says. But we do not have to wait long. I go back to my desk to start finalizing the catering order. I am switching the menu from chicken to roasted lamb, because why not? And 10 minutes later, Sarah gasps. Maggie, she says, look at the analytics. I walk over. On the dashboard, a line graph is moving. It is not a gentle slope. It is a vertical spike. We have 5,000 views in 10 minutes, Sarah says. 10,000. Oh my God. It just got shared by the Modern Bride blog. 15,000. Tessa reads from her phone. Twitter is picking it up. People are using the hashtag #TheCastleBride. Wait, Noor says, laughing in disbelief. Look at the comments on the Valora page. I lean in. The chat room is scrolling so fast I can barely read it. User 88. Is this real? Did her family really ditch her? Sarah J. I would die if I could get married there. Team Maggie. I am setting an alarm. I am watching this. Ex-bridal planner. This is the level of petty I aspire to be. It is crossing 50,000 views, Sarah says, her voice shaking slightly. Maggie, this is not just an industry event anymore. This is going viral. I watch the numbers climb. 60,000, 70,000. My phone buzzes in my pocket. Then again. It is a continuous vibration against my hip. I pull it out. It is not my family. It is friends. It is old clients. It is people I have not spoken to in high school. Saw the video. Is that you? You go, girl. Can I come? I look up at my team. Tessa is grinning. Noor is high-fiving the Valora tech guy. Ivy's dress is being made. The castle is booked. For years, I worried about an empty church. I worried that if I did not beg and plead, no one would show up for me. I look at the counter on the wall. Viewers waiting, 82,400. I am not free-falling anymore. I am flying, and I have an army behind me. Okay, team, I say, clapping my hands to break the trance. We have 80,000 guests coming to dinner. Let's get back to work. It has been 12 hours since Tessa hit the enter key. I am sitting in the office, watching the metrics on the large monitor with a cup of cold coffee in my hand. The numbers are not behaving like normal data. They are behaving like a forest fire. The teaser video has crossed 1 million views. The share count is ticking upward so fast it is almost a blur, hovering around 100,000. The internet does not just watch, it interprets, and the narrative they have constructed is sharper and more brutal than anything I could have written myself. The top comment, liked by 45,000 people, reads, "She did not just drop the mic, she dropped the whole family tree." A massive lifestyle blog, The Modern Vow, has already picked it up. They have reposted the video with a headline in bold, black letters, "The Castle Bride." Below it, they are running a live poll with a simple question. If you were a guest, which wedding would you attend? The Sisters Resort or the Castle Revolution? I watch the blue bar for Castle Revolution stretch across the screen. 92%. The comment section is a war zone, but for the first time in my life, the army is fighting for me. People are dissecting the nuance of the voiceover. They are analyzing the look in my eyes. They are projecting their own stories of being the overlooked sibling, the scapegoat, the second choice onto my 12-second clip. I have become a vessel for every person who has ever felt invisible in their own home. But while the world is cheering, my phone is vibrating across the desk like a trapped insect. I have muted the notifications, but the screen lights up relentlessly. The Grant family group chat, usually reserved for birthday emojis and holiday planning, has turned into a digital panic room. It started with cousin Megan. She is the one who loves drama, provided it is not happening to her. She sent a screenshot of the Modern Vow article into the family chat with a single line. Aunt Denise? Is this Maggie? That was the match in the powder keg. I click on the chat to view the history, scrolling back with a detached, clinical curiosity. Mom, what is this? Who posted this? Cousin Megan. It is everywhere. My coworker just sent it to me. It has 1 million views. Dad. Maggie, answer your phone, now. Aunt Linda. I cannot believe this. People are commenting terrible things about us. They are saying we abandoned her. Who told them that? Mom. Margaret, take this down immediately. You are embarrassing this family. We have a reputation. What will the Solomons think? They are coming to Brooke's wedding. Dad, we need to contain this. If the press picks up on the local angle, it will be a disaster for the business. Call me. I read the messages, but I feel nothing. No guilt, no fear. It is strange how their anger, which used to make me crumble and apologize, now just looks like data. They are not worried about me. They are not asking why I felt the need to do this. They are worried about the Solomons. They are worried about the optics. I do not reply. Instead, I open my guest list spreadsheet on my laptop. It is currently filled with 200 names. Half of them are relatives, distant cousins, great aunts, friends of my parents whom I was obligated to invite to keep the peace. People who would have come to my wedding, eaten my food, and then spent the entire night talking about how excited they were for Brooke's big day. I highlight rows 20 through 80. Delete. I highlight rows 100 to 150. Delete. I am pruning the dead branches. I am looking at every name and asking a simple question. Did this person ever stand up for me? If the answer is no, they are gone. My phone lights up again. It is a long text from Mom. A wall of text. I do not know what you think you're doing, but this is a low blow. We offered you a compromise. We offered you a party. Instead, you go online and seek pity from strangers? You are making yourself look pathetic. Maggie, airing our dirty laundry for clicks? It is vulgar. Take it down. Issue an apology saying it was a misunderstanding, and maybe we can salvage this. Vulgar. I whisper the word, tasting the irony. Vulgar is canceling your daughter's graduation party to take engagement photos. Vulgar is telling your child her wedding is a small matter. I place the phone face down. Tessa, I call out. We need to double the security detail at the castle gate. Tessa looks up from her monitor, her eyes wide. You think they will crash it? I think they will try to control the narrative, I say calmly, and the only way to do that is to stop the broadcast. No one gets in without a physical invite and a photo ID, no exceptions. Got it, Tessa says. I will hire the guys we used for the tech summit. They are basically bouncers in suits. By evening, the office has quieted down. Noor has gone to the warehouse to source the velvet drapes. Tessa is napping on the couch in the corner. I open the group chat one last time before I go home. The tone has shifted from panic to victim blaming. It is a chorus of validation for my parents. Uncle Bob. Kids today do anything for attention. So selfish. Aunt Linda. Poor Brooke. This should be her time. Maggie is just jealous. She always has been. Mom. I just want to know why she hates us so much. We gave her everything. There is not a single message asking, "Are you okay, Maggie?" Not one person asks, "Is it true? Did we really make you feel this way?" They are rewriting history in real time to protect their egos. Then, a new notification pops up. It is not in the group chat. It is a direct message from a number I do not have saved, but I recognize the area code. I open it. It is Aunt Marlene. I saw the video. I saw the comments. I have not spoken to your father in 10 years because I refuse to play by his rules. So I know exactly what it costs to walk away, but I also know what you gain. If you are doing this for real, if this is truly for you, then I will be the first person watching. Give them hell, kid. I stare at the screen, and for the first time all day, my vision blurs. Aunt Marlene, the crazy aunt, the one they told me to avoid because she was difficult and opinionated. I realize now that difficult was just their code word for a woman they could not control. I type back, "Thank you, Aunt Marlene. I will send you the direct link." I wipe my eyes. I'm not going to cry. Not now. Then, the final message comes. The name on the screen is Brooke. I hesitate. I know what this will be. It will be screaming. It will be tears. It will be a demand for me to fix the spotlight she feels I have stolen. I open the message. "Maggie, seriously? You are ruining my week. I have people calling me asking if I am the evil sister. Do you have any idea how stressful this is for me? I am trying to plan a wedding here." I scroll down. There is more. "Look, let's be adults. Take down the video. Move your date to November like Mom said. If you do, I will talk to the resort manager. They need a decor vendor for their winter season. I can get you the contract. It is huge money. Maggie, you can do the centerpieces for all their holiday parties. Win-win. You get work, I get my wedding back. Let me know." I stare at the words win-win. I let out a short, sharp laugh that echoes in the empty office. A decor contract. She is offering me a job. She wants to pay me off with labor. She thinks that is what I want, to be hired, to be useful, to be the help. In Brooke's mind, the world is a hierarchy where she sits at the top, and the best possible outcome for me is to be a well-paid servant in her court. She cannot conceive of a world where I have my own kingdom. She genuinely thinks she is being generous. My thumbs hover over the keyboard. I could type out a furious response. I could tell her that I do not need her charity. I could tell her that I'm currently managing a production 10 times more complex than her resort package. I could tell her that Valora Live is paying me a licensing fee that is double what that contract would be worth. I could tell her that she is the reason I'm doing this. But then I realize something. If I argue, I am still engaging. If I explain, I am still seeking to be understood. And the old Maggie, the spare child, was always desperate to be understood. The new Maggie does not care. I look at the phrase win-win one last time. It only works if I agree to lose. I do not type a single letter. I do not send an angry emoji. I do not explain myself. I close the message thread. I open the settings for the Grant family group chat. I press leave conversation. I slide the phone into my pocket. The silence that follows is not empty. It is heavy and rich. It is the sound of a bridge burning, and the fire is keeping me warm. I stand up, grab my bag, and turn off the office lights. The glow of the computer monitor remains, showing the countdown clock. 11 days. I have never been more ready. It is 4 days before the ceremony. The apartment is a maze of packed boxes, labeled with blue painter's tape for the transport van heading to Vermont tomorrow. The air smells of cardboard and anticipation. My phone is sitting on the kitchen island, vibrating against the granite. It has been doing this for an hour. Mom calling, Mom calling, Mom calling. I am folding a stack of printed vows, pressing the creases sharp with my thumbnail. I do not look at the screen, but the buzzing sound is like a drill boring into the base of my skull. It is the sound of a demand. It is the sound of a woman who is used to being answered. Miles walks in from the bedroom, holding a garment bag containing his tuxedo. He stops, looking at the phone, then at me. He does not turn the ringer off. He just watches me, his expression unreadable but attentive. "She is not going to stop, Maggie," he says quietly. I press my thumb harder into the paper. "I know." "Do you want to keep dodging?" Miles asks, leaning against the doorframe. "Or do you want to face it? If you answer, you end it. If you do not, they keep haunting you." I stop folding. I look at my hands. They are steady. They are the hands of a woman who has spent the last week commanding a team of 30 people, negotiating contracts, and building a kingdom out of thin air. Why should I be afraid of a phone call? I walk over to the island. I pick up the phone. I press the green button and hit the speaker icon. "Hello, Mother," I say. The line is silent for a split second, as if she is surprised I actually picked up. Then, her voice comes through, thick with a mixture of exhaustion and performative martyrdom. "Margaret," she sighs. "Finally, your father and I have been sitting here sick with worry. Do you have any idea what you are doing to us?" I lean my hip against the counter, crossing my arms. "I am getting married. Mom, that is what I am doing." "You are humiliating us," she snaps, the facade of worry slipping instantly into anger. "That video? Those comments? People are saying we are monsters. Aunt Linda called me in tears because someone at her bridge club asked if she was related to the wicked family from the internet. We are very hurt. Maggie, we have always done everything for you." "Everything," I repeat, my voice flat. "Yes, everything." She is winding up now, getting into the rhythm of her favorite speech. "We gave you a home. We paid for your braces. We supported you when you wanted to go into that party planning career. And now you paint us as villains because of a scheduling conflict? It is ungrateful. We are willing to forgive you. Maggie, we are willing to move past this public tantrum if you just take down the live stream link and issue a statement." I look at Miles. He gives me a small nod. "I have a question," I say. I do not raise my voice. I do not interrupt her flow with emotion. I just drop the sentence like a stone into a pond. Mom pauses. "What?" "The savings account," I say. "The custodial account Grandma started for me and Brooke when we were born. You always told me it was for a down payment on a house or a wedding. You told me that when I turned 25, I would have access to it." There is a sudden, sharp intake of breath on the other end. "Maggie, this is hardly the time to talk about finances." My father's voice booms from the background. He must be listening on the extension. "We are talking about family unity." "I am 26, Dad," I say, ignoring his deflection. "I asked about it last year, and you said the market was down, so we should leave it. I asked about it when Miles proposed, and you said we would discuss it later. Well, I am getting married in 4 days. I am paying for this entire castle production out of my own pocket. So I am asking you now, where is the money?" "It is complicated," Dad says quickly. "The economy has been—" "It is not complicated," Mom interrupts, her voice shrill and defensive. She cannot help herself. She hates being questioned. She hates the implication that she has done something wrong. "Stop interrogating us like we are criminals. Margaret, we did what we had to do as parents." "What did you do?" I ask. "We used it," Mom says. The words hang in the air between us, heavy and absolute. "You used it," I repeat. "For what? An emergency? Medical bills?" "We used it for the deposit," Mom blurts out. "For Sapphire Sands? For Brooke?" I feel a physical sensation in my chest, like a glass vase shattering on a tile floor. It is not pain, exactly. It is the shock of the impact. "You took my savings," I say, speaking very slowly to ensure I understand the architecture of this betrayal. "The money Grandma left specifically for me, and you used it to pay for the venue that Brooke booked on my wedding day." "Brooke needed it," Mom cries, her voice pitching up into a whine. "You know how expensive the resort is, Maggie. They required a 50% down payment up front to secure the date. Brooke and her fiancé are just starting out. They did not have that kind of liquidity. We could not let her lose the venue. It is her dream." "And what about my dream?" I ask. "Your wedding is different," Mom says, and I can hear the desperate rationalization in her tone. You are resourceful, Maggie. You always have been. You know how to make things look nice on a budget. Brooke does not have your skills. She needs the support to shine. It is equitable, in a way. You have the talent. She gets the financial help. I close my eyes. The logic is so twisted, so perfectly designed to keep Brooke on her pedestal while I hold up the base, that it is almost impressive. So, I say, opening my eyes and staring at the wall. Let me get the timeline straight. On my 16th birthday, we left dinner early because Brooke had a pageant, correct? That was one time, Dad starts. On my college graduation, I continue, cutting him off. You did not come because Brooke had an engagement photo shoot, correct? Silence. And now, I say, my voice trembling slightly not with tears, but with the vibration of pure truth. You not only chose to attend her wedding over mine, but you stole the money that was legally mine to pay for the very event that is erasing me. It is not stealing. Mom is sobbing now. I can hear the wet, ragged sounds of her tears. She uses them like a shield. We are your parents. We make decisions based on who needs us most. We do not discriminate. We have to prioritize. Brooke is sensitive. She cannot handle the stress like you can. You are so strong. Maggie, you are so independent. I am independent because you never gave me a choice, I say. You are overthinking this, Dad says, his voice rough, trying to regain control of the conversation. It is just money, Maggie. We will pay you back eventually. When the business picks up, do not ruin this family over a check. I am not angry about the money, Dad, I say. And I realize, with a sudden, crystal clarity, that I mean it. The money is gone. I will never see it again, and I do not care. Then what is it? He demands. What do you want from us? I want it to be the priority, I say. My voice is soft, but in the quiet kitchen, it sounds like a gavel strike. Just once, I wanted you to look at a calendar, see my name on it, and tell Brooke that she had to wait. I wanted you to look at that bank account and say, no, this belongs to Maggie. I wanted you to protect me. The line is dead silent. They have no script for this. They have scripts for my anger, for my compliance, for my begging. They do not know what to do with my clarity. I am not doing this live stream to embarrass you, I say, looking at Miles. He is standing close to me now, his hand resting gently on my back. I am not doing it to be famous. I am doing it because for 26 years, you have taught me that I am the backup plan. You taught me that my role is to stand in the shadows so Brooke can catch the light. Maggie, please, Mom whispers. We love you. I know you love me, I say. But you love her more, and you respect me less. That is not true, Mom protests, but her voice is weak. She knows it is true. She just hates hearing it spoken aloud. I am hanging up now, I say. I have a wedding to produce, a wedding that I paid for, a wedding where every single person in the room is there because they chose me, not because they had to, not because I was the convenient option, but because they wanted to see me. If you hang up, Dad says, his voice taking on a warning edge, do not expect us to come crawling back. I do not expect you to come at all, I say. That is the point. Maggie, Mom starts. I press the red button. The call ends. The kitchen is suddenly, blissfully quiet. I stand there for a moment, gripping the phone. My hand is shaking. A fine tremor runs through my fingers, up my wrist, and into my elbow. It is the adrenaline leaving my system. Miles wraps his arms around me from behind. He rests his chin on the top of my head. He does not say, I am sorry. He does not say, they are terrible. He knows I do not need his pity. You okay? He asks. I take a deep breath, filling my lungs with the air of the apartment that I pay for, surrounded by the boxes of the life I built. I look at my hand. I force the tremor to stop. I steady myself. I am lighter, I say. I feel lighter. They have no power anymore. Miles says against my hair. You took the last thing they had. The money? I ask. The secret, he says. They relied on you keeping their secret. They relied on you being too polite to ask where the money went. You just exposed the foundation, and the whole house collapsed. I turn around in his arms. I look up at him. My eyes are dry. My heart is beating a slow, strong rhythm. 4 days, I say. In 4 days, I walk down those stone steps, and I am not walking as a daughter. I am walking as a woman who survived them. And you are going to look spectacular doing it, Miles says, kissing my forehead. I pull away gently and pick up the packing tape gun. The sound of the tape ripping off the roll is loud and harsh, like a bandage being torn away. Let's finish packing, I say. We have a castle to conquer. The gravel crunching under the tires of my rental SUV sounds like the opening drum roll of a war march. It is the day before the day. I step out of the car and the cold Vermont air hits my face, sharp and smelling of pine needles and deep water, before me. Silverhaven Castle rises against a sky that is rapidly turning the color of a bruised plum. It is massive. The gray stone walls are rough and ancient, climbing up into sharp turrets that pierce the low-hanging clouds. It looks impenetrable. It looks like a place where secrets are kept, or where legends are written. But this is not just a medieval fortress anymore. It is a hybrid beast. Running along the base of the 12th century stone are thick black cables, snaking through the grass like veins pumping electricity into a sleeping giant. A white production truck with the Valor Alive logo is parked near the stables, its satellite dish pointed hopefully at the heavens. Drones are buzzing near the west tower, their high-pitched whine mixing with the calling of the crows in the trees. I walk through the main archway. The courtyard is a hive of controlled chaos. Tessa is standing in the center of the stone patio, holding an iPad with both hands. She is wearing a headset and pointing at the upper balconies like she is conducting a symphony orchestra. More warmth on the left, she shouts to a technician perched on a ladder 20 feet up. It looks too clinical. I want it to look like firelight, not a hospital operating room. Drop the temperature to 2,700 Kelvin. She sees me and lowers the iPad. Her eyes are rimmed with red from lack of sleep, but she is vibrating with energy. Welcome home, Your Majesty, she grins. We are 70% rigged. The wind is picking up off the lake, so we had to reinforce the audio baffles. But we are good. How does it look? I ask, looking up at the strings of fairy lights being hoisted between the battlements. There must be thousands of them. It looks like magic, Tessa says. Go find Noor. She is down by the water. She has a surprise for you. I walk down the sloping lawn toward the lake. The water is terrifyingly still. A sheet of black glass reflecting the testing lights from the castle above. Noor is standing by the water's edge, arranging a garland of white roses on a wooden arch. When she sees me, she steps back, wiping her hands on her jeans. Okay, Noor says, her voice hushed. Tell me honestly, is this too much? I look at the ceremony space. It is breathtaking. Instead of traditional straight rows, she has arranged the dark wooden chairs in a semicircle, embracing the altar so that the guests, my friends, my colleagues, the people who actually care, will surround us. The aisle is not a carpet. It is a thick, lush pathway of pale petals, cream and blush, scattered so thickly they look like fallen snow. But the centerpiece is the arch. It is not just flowers. Noor has woven dried branches and golden wheat in with the roses, creating a structure that looks wild and organic, framing the lake and the mountains beyond. It looks like a portal to another world. It is perfect, Noor, I say, my throat tightening. It does not look like a wedding venue. It looks like a sanctuary. That is the vibe, Noor says, looking satisfied. Sanctuary, fortress, no bad energy allowed past this line. I leave her to adjust the pedals and head toward the production truck. This is the nerve center. This is where the private act of marriage becomes a public declaration. I step inside the truck. It is dark, cool, and smells of ozone and coffee. One entire wall is covered in monitors. There are feeds from the balcony, feeds from the drone, feeds from the handheld cameras that will follow me down the aisle. The technical director, a guy named Dave, spins around in his chair. "Maggie," he says, "you need to see this." He points to the large central screen. It displays the landing page for the live stream. The countdown clock is ticking. 23 hours, 14 minutes. But I am not looking at the clock. I am looking at the number below it. Viewers waiting. 1.8 million. I blink. Is that a glitch? No, Dave says. It is climbing. We are getting traffic from everywhere. New York, London, Tokyo, Sydney. Look at the chat. On the right side of the screen, a waterfall of text is cascading down so fast it is almost impossible to read. Team Maggie from Ohio. I canceled my date night to watch this. Show them what you are made of. Castle Bride. My parents did the same thing to me. Walking with you in spirit. Sending love from Brazil. I stand there, my hand pressing against the cold glass of the monitor. These are strangers. They do not know my favorite color. They do not know how I take my coffee. They do not know the sound of my laugh. Yet, they are gathering in this digital space, millions strong, to stand witness for a woman they have never met. 2.1 million, Dave says softly, watching the counter tick up. By tomorrow, we project 3 million concurrent viewers. That is Super Bowl commercial territory. Maggie. I feel a tear slide down my cheek. I do not wipe it away. For weeks, I felt like I was shouting into a void. I felt like I was disappearing. Now, I realize I was never disappearing. I was just broadcasting on a frequency my family could not hear. But the rest of the world? They hear it loud and clear. I step out of the truck, needing fresh air. My phone buzzes in my pocket. I pull it out. It is a text from Aunt Marlene. She has sent a photo. It shows her living room in Arizona. Her big flat-screen TV is on, displaying the Valora Live countdown page. On her coffee table, there is a massive bowl of popcorn and a bottle of expensive red wine. The caption reads, "Front row seat. The popcorn is for the drama. The wine is for the victory. I have never been prouder. Love, Aunt M." A warmth spreads through my chest, hotter than the coffee, brighter than the fairy lights. This is my family. Aunt Marlene with her wine, Tessa with her lighting cues, Noor with her petals, the 2 million strangers in the chat room. Then, the phone buzzes again. The warmth vanishes. It is the other family. I see the notifications stacking up on my lock screen. They have realized that the silence is real. They have realized that I'm not bluffing. The panic has set in. Dad. Margaret, pick up the phone. This has gone too far. We have lawyers calling us. Mom. Please, Maggie. I am begging you. Do not do this. You are destroying your sister's happiness. Is that what you want? To be the girl who ruined a wedding? Brooke, you are a narcissist. That is what you are. A jealous, attention-seeking narcissist. If you turn those cameras on tomorrow, I will never speak to you again. Dad, if you stop this now, we can talk about the money. We can work out a payment plan. Just shut down the stream. I read the messages. They are so loud. Even in text form. They scream. They are bargaining. They are threatening. They are guilt-tripping. They are doing everything except the one thing that matters. Apologizing. They still think this is a negotiation. They think there is a price point where I will sell my dignity back to them. They think the money I mentioned on the phone was a request for reimbursement, not an indictment of their character. I look up at the castle tower. The flag is snapping in the wind. I open the chat. I do not type a paragraph. I do not explain my feelings. I do not defend my character against Brooke's insults. I copy the link to the live stream. I paste it into the chat. Then I type 2 sentences. Anyone who wants to watch, can watch. Anyone who does not want to, can turn it off. I hit send. Then I turn off my phone. I do not just lock the screen. I hold the power button down until the device goes dark. I am done. I have drawn the line in the sand, and it is a canyon. I walk back toward the castle. The sun has fully set now. The temperature has dropped, but the air feels electric. I walk through the heavy oak doors and into the great hall. It is empty. The crew has gone to dinner. The only light comes from the testing rigs, casting long, dramatic beams of amber and violet across the stone floor. In the center of the room, hanging from a specially constructed rack, is my dress. It glows in the semi-darkness. The ivory silk looks like liquid moonlight. The cape shimmers as a draft from the hallway catches it, moving like a living thing. It does not look like a costume. It looks like a chrysalis. I walk up to it. I reach out and touch the cool fabric. For months, I had a fantasy. In that fantasy, my mother was here. She was zipping me up. She was crying, telling me I looked beautiful. My father was waiting outside, checking his tie, ready to walk me down the aisle. Brooke was fixing my train, happy for me. I stand there in the silence of the castle, playing that fantasy in my head one last time. And I realize something that makes my knees weak with relief. I do not want them here. If they were here, Mom would be criticizing the stone walls, saying they are too cold. Dad would be complaining about the cost of the heating. Brooke would be making comments about how her dress is more designer, more current. They would suck the air out of this room. They would take this majestic, towering moment and shrink it down until it fit into their pockets. I do not want their conditional love. I do not want their distracted presence. I look at the dress. I look at the stone walls that have stood for centuries, weathering storms and wars. I am ready, I whisper to the empty room. And I am. I am not waiting for them to choose me anymore. I have chosen myself, and tomorrow, when I walk down those stairs, I will not be walking toward them. I will be walking away from them, and into the rest of my life. I turn away from the dress and walk out of the ballroom, leaving the ghosts behind in the dark. Outside, the countdown clock is ticking. 2.4 million people are waiting, and for the first time in 26 years, the star of the show is ready to take the stage. The morning sun over Silverhaven does not simply rise. It is directed. It spills over the eastern ridge of the mountains, hitting the slate roof of the castle with a precision that feels scripted, illuminating the dew on the lawn until the entire estate looks like it has been dipped in liquid diamond. Below my window, the courtyard has transformed into a high-tech hive. It looks less like a wedding venue and more like the set of a blockbuster film. I can see the jib arm of a camera crane swinging gracefully over the fountain, testing its arc. I can see men in black headsets sprinting across the grass, taping down thick coils of cable. I can hear the low, static-filled chatter of radios and the hum of the generator truck, a steady bass line beneath the song of the birds. Inside the master suite, the air is still. Ivy is on her knees behind me. She is not speaking. Her mouth is full of pearl-headed pins, and her hands are moving with the dexterity of a surgeon. She is securing the cape at my shoulders, fastening the hidden hooks that will allow the sheer tool to flow from my back like a pair of ethereal wings. Breathe in, she commands softly. I inhale. The silk crepe of the bodice tightens against my ribs, a second skin that feels both protective and exposing. Breathe out, she says. I exhale, and the fabric settles. It does not pinch. It does not constrain. It fits me in a way that nothing in my life has ever fit before. It acknowledges the space I take up rather than asking me to shrink. There, Ivy whispers, standing up and stepping back. She pulls a single stray thread from the hem. You are done. I turn to the full-length mirror. For a moment, my brain refuses to process the image. I am looking for the Maggie I know, the Maggie in the practical blazers, the Maggie with the clipboard, the Maggie standing in the shadows adjusting someone else's train. But that Maggie is gone. The woman in the mirror is statuesque. The ivory silk glows against the gray stone of the room. The cape cascades down my back and pools on the floor, shimmering with a subtle gold thread that catches the morning light. I look tall. I look dangerous. I look like a queen who has just survived a coup. Turn around, Tessa says from the doorway. She is holding a tablet, her face pale with exhaustion, but her eyes burning with adrenaline. You need to see this. She turns the screen toward me. It is the Valora Live dashboard. The countdown clock is red. 0 days, 0 hours, 5 minutes. But it is the chat room that stops my heart. It is moving so fast it is a blur of text, a digital waterfall of support. It is starting. Everyone wake up. I have my tissues ready. For every overlooked daughter, this is for us. Team Maggie forever. She is actually doing it. She is actually choosing herself. 3.2 million, Tessa says, her voice trembling. Maggie, there are 3.2 million people waiting for you to open that door. I reach out and touch the cold glass of the screen. I read that sentence again. For every overlooked daughter. A lump forms in my throat, hard and aching. I thought I was doing this to show my family what they missed. I thought I was doing this to prove a point to Brooke, but looking at those words, I realized that my anger was just the fuel. This connection with millions of strangers who know exactly how a broken heart feels, is the fire. Time, a voice crackles over Tessa's walkie-talkie. We are live in 2, cue the music. The sound of a cello rises from the courtyard below. It is deep and resonant, a mournful, beautiful sound that vibrates through the stone floor and up into the soles of my feet. It is not a wedding march. It is a cinematic score. Let's go, Ivy says, handing me my bouquet. It is not a tight, polite bundle of roses. It is a cascading arrangement of dark greenery, white anemones, and wild grasses. It looks untamed. I walk out of the suite and down the long, tapestried corridor. My heart is beating a slow, heavy rhythm against my ribs. Thump, thump, thump. I reach the heavy oak doors that lead to the upper terrace. 2 production assistants are waiting there, wearing headsets. They look at me with wide eyes, then nod respectfully. Camera 1 is locked on the staircase, the floor director says into his mic. Camera 2 is on the groom. Camera 3 is wide. We are live in 10, 9. He starts the countdown with his fingers. 8, 7, 6. I close my eyes. In this final second of darkness, I search for the fear. I search for the voice of my mother telling me I am being dramatic. I search for the voice of my father telling me I am wasting money. I search for Brooke's laugh. I find nothing. The silence in my head is absolute. The ghosts are gone. I evicted them. 3, 2. The director points at the doors. The assistants push them open. The world explodes into light. The morning sun is blinding for a split second, and then my vision clears. I step out onto the stone landing at the top of the grand staircase. The wind off the lake hits me, catching the tulle cape and lifting it behind me. Below, the courtyard is a sea of candlelight. Thousands of candles are flickering in the daylight, casting a warm, defiant glow against the gray walls. The air smells of beeswax and autumn leaves. I look down. Miles is standing at the altar. He is not looking at the cameras. He is not looking at the lake. He is looking at me. And the look on his face almost brings me to my knees. It is not the look of a man watching a bride. It is the look of a man watching a miracle. He is looking at me with a fierce, unyielding pride that feels solid enough to walk on. He sees the dress. He sees the castle. But mostly, he sees the war I fought to get to this step. I begin to descend. My foot touches the first stone step. The cello swells, joined by a violin that soars high and sweet. Step. I am 6 years old, waiting for a birthday cake that never came. Step. I am 16, eating a cold cupcake alone in my room while my sister sleeps. Step. I am 22, holding my diploma in an empty parking lot. Step. I am here. With every step down the winding staircase, I feel a weight falling off my shoulders. I am shedding the skin of the spare child. I am shedding the identity of the peacemaker. I am shedding the need to be good, to be quiet, to be grateful for scraps. The cameras are tracking me. I can feel their mechanical eyes, zooming in, capturing the way the wind plays with my hair, the way the light reflects off the silk. But I do not feel self-conscious. I do not feel like an imposter. I feel peace, a strange, terrifying, beautiful peace. For the first time in my life, I'm not wondering what my mother thinks of my hair. I am not wondering if Brooke would approve of the flowers. I am not wondering if I am taking up too much space. I am the space. I reach the bottom of the stairs. The aisle of rose petals stretches out before me, leading to the wooden arch that frames the glistening lake. The guests, my chosen family, stand as one. I see Tessa, wiping tears from her face with the back of her hand. I see Noor, beaming. I see Aunt Marlene, raising a glass of wine to me from across the country in spirit. I walk toward Miles. When I reach him, he takes my hands. His palms are warm. His grip is firm. The music fades to a whisper. The wind rustles the dry leaves in the trees. The silence is heavy and sacred. The officiant, a close friend named David, begins to speak, but I barely hear the introduction. I am locked in Miles's gaze. "Miles," I say when it is my turn. My voice is steady. It is amplified by the lapel mic hidden in my dress, carrying my words to the 3 million people watching on their screens. For a long time, I thought love was about earning your place. I thought it was about shrinking until you fit into the shape someone else cut out for you. I pause. The wind tugs at my veil. "But you never asked me to shrink," I continue. "You asked me to stand tall. You asked me to be the main character in my own life. So today, I am not just choosing you as my husband. I am choosing us as my family. A family where no one is a backup plan. A family where no one is left behind. A family where love is not a limited resource that runs out before it gets to the youngest child." Miles swallows hard. His eyes are shimmering. "Maggie," he says, his voice thick with emotion, "I vow to never let you stand in the background. I vow to be the person who always puts you first on the call sheet. I vow to protect your light, not dim it. You have spent your life building stages for other people to shine on. From this day forward, I promise to spend my life making sure the spotlight stays on you." A murmur goes through the small crowd. I can almost feel the vibration of the chat room exploding. She finally believes she deserves this. He sees her. He really sees her. This is what love looks like. "The rings," David says. Miles takes the simple gold band and slides it onto my finger. It feels heavy and permanent. I slide his ring onto his finger. "By the power vested in me," David says, his voice rising, "I pronounce you husband and wife. You may kiss the bride." Miles steps forward. He cups my face in his hands. He kisses me, and it is not a tentative, polite wedding kiss. It is a seal. It is a claim. It is the end of one story and the violent, beautiful beginning of another. Above us, I hear the hum of the drone. I know what the shot looks like. I planned it. The camera is pulling back, rising higher and higher. It is seeing the two of us, small figures in gold and black, standing on a carpet of petals. It is seeing the stone fortress of Silverhaven. It is seeing the vast mirror-like surface of the lake reflecting the clouds. It is seeing the autumn forest burning with red and orange leaves. It is a frame worthy of a finale. The chat room is scrolling so fast it is just a blur of color. Hearts, crying faces, applause. I break the kiss and look up at Miles. We are both breathless. "We did it," he whispers. "We did," I say. I turn to face the camera. I know exactly where the lens is. I look straight into it. I am not looking at the 3 million strangers. I am looking at the ghost of the family that isn't here. I smile. It is not a smile of malice. It is a smile of absolute, final victory. I have closed the book on the girl who waited. I am the woman who walked. The sun has dipped below the horizon, and the great hall of Silverhaven Castle has transformed. If the ceremony was a film set, the reception is a galaxy. Above us, the high vaulted ceilings are lost in shadow, but the space is defined by thousands of tiny fairy lights that Tessa and her team have strung in intricate, draping webs. They look like a captured night sky, lowered just for us. The stone walls, usually cold and imposing, are washed in warm amber light that makes the room feel intimate, despite its massive size. I am sitting at the head table next to Miles. The adrenaline of the ceremony has ebbed away, replaced by a deep, humming exhaustion that feels strangely pleasant. It is the tiredness of a marathon runner who has just crossed the finish line. The room is filled with the sound of laughter and clinking silverware. My friends, my real friends, are here. There is no tension. There is no one critiquing the centerpiece arrangements. There is no one whispering about how much the wine cost. Tessa just finished a toast that involved a humiliating but hilarious story about the time we got locked in a freight elevator with a catering cart full of shrimp, and the room is still wiping tears of laughter from their eyes. Then, the MC, a local jazz singer we hired, taps the microphone. "And now," he says, his voice smooth as velvet, "I would like to invite the bride to say a few words." The room goes quiet, not the awkward silence of an obligation, but the attentive silence of respect. I stand up. My legs feel steady. The silk of my dress rustles softly against the floor. I take the microphone. It feels heavy and cold in my hand. I look out at the room. Then, I look past the tables, past the candles, to the back of the hall where the camera crane is positioned. The red tally light is glowing. I know who is watching. 3 million people. And somewhere, in a resort 200 miles away, 3 people who probably thought I would never have the courage to pick up this mic. "Thank you," I start. My voice echoes slightly in the stone hall. "Thank you to everyone in this room. You traveled here on short notice. You took time off work. You drove through the mountains. You are here because you wanted to be here, not because you felt you had to be." I pause. I look at Miles. He nods. A small, encouraging movement. "For a long time," I continue, keeping my voice low and conversational, "I thought that love was a transaction. I thought you had to earn your spot in a room by being the most convenient person in it. I thought that if I made myself small enough, if I required little enough, then I would eventually be rewarded with affection." I take a breath. The air smells of roasted rosemary and expensive wax. "I became an expert at editing myself," I say. "It started with small things. A birthday dinner that was cut short by an hour because someone else had an early morning. Then it was a graduation ceremony that was skipped because a photo shoot was deemed a once-in-a-lifetime event. Then it was my career, which was celebrated with a text message while other achievements were celebrated with champagne." I see Tessa in the front row. She is not smiling anymore. She is watching me with fierce intensity. "I told myself it was okay," I say to the camera. "I told myself that families have hierarchies, and it was my job to support the person at the top. I told myself that being the good one meant being the silent one. I gave up my time. I gave up my milestones. And recently, I found out that I even gave up my financial security, my own savings, because the person at the top needed it to shine a little brighter." A gasp ripples through the room. My friends know the vague details, but they did not know about the money. I see jaws tighten. I see anger on my behalf. But I am not angry. I am past anger. "I am not telling you this to make you feel sorry for me," I say, and I make sure my eyes are dry and clear. "I am telling you this because I know I am not the only one." I step out from behind the table. I walk to the edge of the stage, closing the distance between me and the lens. "I want to ask a question to everyone watching right now," I say. "Has anyone else ever felt like the second choice in their own family? Has anyone else been told that their dreams are cute while someone else's dreams are important? Has anyone else been the backup plan?" I let the question hang in the air. In the production truck outside, and in the control booth at the back of the room, the screens are lighting up. I cannot see the chat, but I can feel it. Me, I am the middle child. I am invisible. My brother got the car. I got the bus pass. I feel this so much. I thought I was the only one. Thousands of messages are scrolling by every second, a digital chorus of the overlooked. "For 26 years, I say. I waited for permission to be the main character. I thought if I was good enough, if I was quiet enough, someone would hand me the script and say, 'Okay, it is your turn now.' But that never happened. And I realized this week that it was never going to happen. I grip the microphone tighter. This wedding, I say, gesturing to the castle walls, to the lights, to the grandeur around me. Some people might think this is revenge. They might think I did all of this just to make a point or to hurt the people who hurt me. I shake my head. But revenge is about them, I say. And this is about me. This isn't a weapon. It is a boundary. It is the physical manifestation of the moment I decided to stop waiting. I look at the camera, and for a second, I imagine I am looking directly into my mother's eyes. I am done adjusting, I say softly. I am done shrinking. I am done apologizing for taking up space. At the corner of the table, my phone has been sitting face down. It starts to vibrate. It buzzes against the wood, a harsh, mechanical sound. I glance at it. The screen lights up. It is a notification from a cousin. She has sent me a screenshot. It is a Facebook post from my mother. It was posted 10 minutes ago. I am heartbroken tonight. The post reads, "To watch my own daughter mock her family on a global stage is a pain no mother should endure. We gave her everything. We loved her. And she repays us by airing private grievances for money and fame. Ungrateful does not begin to cover it." I read the preview text, and then I read the first comment under it, from a stranger. "Lady, you missed her wedding to go to a resort. Sit this one down." And another, "She is not mocking you. She is telling the truth. If it hurts, maybe you should ask yourself why." And another, "You stole her savings account? You should be in jail. Not on Facebook." My mother wanted sympathy. She wanted the internet to rally around the poor, victimized parents. Instead, she walked into a firing squad of accountability. I look at the phone vibrating. My father is calling now, probably to scream, probably to demand I issue a retraction. I reach out. I do not answer it. I do not decline it. I simply turn it over so the screen is facing the table. I look back at the room. I look back at the camera. There are people who will say I am being selfish tonight. I say. There are people who will say I am ungrateful, and to those people, I have nothing to say, because I am not talking to them anymore. I take a deep breath. I feel Miles's hand find the small of my back, warm and grounding. I am using this microphone to say one thing. I conclude. Something I should have said a long time ago. Something I hope every person watching this who has ever felt invisible will say to themselves tonight. I lift my chin. I deserve to be here. I lower the microphone. For a heartbeat, there is total silence. Then, the room erupts. It is not polite applause. It is a roar. My friends are on their feet. Tessa is cheering so loud I can hear her over the din. Miles is standing next to me, clapping, his eyes shining with tears. On the monitors in the control room, the chat is moving so fast, it looks like a blur of white light. "Yes, you do. We see you, Maggie. This is bigger than a wedding. Louder for the parents in the back." I stand there, bathed in the amber light, letting the sound wash over me. It feels like rain after a decade of drought. I did not scream. I did not throw a tantrum. I did not name them. I just told the truth. And the truth, I am realizing, is the most powerful thing I own. I look down at my phone one last time. It has stopped buzzing. The silence from that end is deafening. They have lost the narrative. They have lost the audience. And most importantly, they have lost the power to make me feel small. I hand the microphone back to the MC. "Let's dance," I say to Miles. He pulls me onto the floor. The band strikes up a slow, soulful song. As we sway in the center of the room, surrounded by the people who chose us, I realize that I have never felt less like a spare part. I am the engine. I am the wheel. I am the whole damn car. And I am driving myself home. The applause has faded into the rhythmic thrum of the bass as the band transitions into an upbeat jazz number. Inside the ballroom, the atmosphere is electric, a swirl of champagne flutes and laughter. But I need a moment of air. I need to step out of the frame, just for a second, to make sure the reality of the night is still holding together outside the lens. Miles and I step out onto the stone balcony of the North Tower. The heavy wooden doors click shut behind us, muffling the music until it sounds like a heartbeat in another room. The night air is crisp, biting at the exposed skin of my arms, but the adrenaline keeps me warm. Below us, the courtyard is a sea of amber light. The thousands of fairy lights reflected in the black mirror of the lake look like an inverted constellation. It is quiet here. It is vast. The castle rises up behind us, solid and immovable, looking like the backdrop of a film that has finally reached its third act. My phone, which I've been ignoring for the better part of an hour, vibrates in my hand. It is not a text message this time. It is a video call request. The screen displays 3 names: Dad, Mom, Brooke. I look at Miles. He is leaning against the stone balustrade, watching me. He does not tell me what to do. He knows that this is the final dragon I have to slay, and I have to swing the sword myself. I slide my thumb across the screen. The connection takes a moment to stabilize, pixelating and freezing before snapping into sharp, high-definition focus. They are not at home. They are standing in the lobby of the Sapphire Sands Resort. The background is unmistakable. I see the famous white marble floors. I see the oversized crystal chandelier that costs more than my annual salary. I see a white floral archway and a grand piano in the distance. They are in their world. They are in the place that was worth sacrificing me for. They are huddled around the phone, their faces flushed. They look frantic. They look like people who have just realized the glass walls of their house are not soundproof. "You answered," my mother says, her voice breathless. She is wearing a mother-of-the-bride dress in pale lavender that I helped her pick out 3 months ago. Seeing it now feels like looking at a costume from a past life. "I did," I say. My voice is calm. It surprises me how calm it is. "Maggie, you have to stop this," my father says, pushing his face closer to the camera. His forehead is creased with lines of stress I have never seen before. "We have people at the rehearsal dinner asking to see the live stream. The Solomons are asking why we aren't at the castle. You are turning a private family matter into a circus." "It is not a circus," I say, looking at the tiny image of myself in the corner of the screen, the castle turret rising behind me. "It is a wedding. You were invited. You chose the resort." "We did not think you would actually do it," Mom cries out, wringing her hands. "We thought you were bluffing. We thought you would come to your senses and move the date. Maggie, please, you are humiliating your sister. You are humiliating us. Take the link down. Tell everyone it was a technical error. Tell them we are there, just off camera. Lie for us. Maggie, please." "Lie for you," I repeat. "Like you lied about the savings account?" "We can fix that," Dad says quickly, seizing on the opening. "We can fix all of it. If you shut down the stream right now, if you issue a public apology for the misunderstanding, if you promise never to mention the money again, we will forgive you." He says it with such benevolence. "We will forgive you. We will welcome you back into the family," Mom adds, nodding eagerly. "We will pretend this never happened. We will have that barbecue in the spring. We can be a family again. Maggie, just come back." I listen to the words. Welcome back to the family. For 26 years, that phrase would have been the holy grail. I would have done anything to hear it. I would have crawled over broken glass to secure my place in that circle. I would have apologized for things I didn't do just to keep the peace. But tonight, standing on the balcony of a castle I rented with my own money, wearing a dress that makes me look like a queen, I hear those words and I feel nothing. Actually, that is not true. I feel distance. I feel the kind of polite detachment you feel for a stranger who has mistaken you for someone else. I realize, with a sudden, quiet jolt, that I have never actually been in their family. I was adjacent to it. I was the employee. I was the audience member. I was never a partner. "I do not want to be forgiven," I say. They freeze. The lobby of the resort seems to go silent behind them. "What?" Mom whispers. "I do not need your forgiveness because I have done nothing wrong," I say. "I chose myself. That is not a crime. And as for welcoming me back, I do not think I can come back to a place where I was never really allowed to live. Maggie, don't be dramatic, Dad snaps, his patience fraying. I am not being dramatic, Dad. I am being honest. You want me to apologize for shining. You want me to apologize for refusing to be the backup plan. I will not do that. I look at them. Really look at them. I see their fear. They are terrified not because they miss me, but because they can no longer control the version of the story the world sees. However, I say, if one day, years from now, you want to apologize to me, not for the money, but for making me feel like I was a mistake you were trying to correct, I will listen, but not today. Today is my wedding day. Brooke pushes her way to the center of the frame. She looks perfect. Her hair is done, her makeup is flawless, and her eyes are cold. Hard flint. You are selfish, she spits out. You are ruining everything. You are destroying the Grant family image. If you do not shut that stream down right now, I am done. Do you hear me, Maggie? I will cut you off. I will never speak to you again. You will be dead to me. It is the ultimate threat, the nuclear option, the thing that has kept me in line for my entire life. I look at my sister. I remember brushing her hair when we were kids. I remember helping her with her homework. I remember planning her dates. I remember loving her so much it hurt, even when she didn't look back. I smile. It is a small, sad, genuine smile. Brooke, I say softly, you do not need to do that for me. What? She asks, confused. You do not need to cut me off, I say. I am already gone. I do not wait for her reaction. I do not wait for the screaming to start. I do not wait for the guilt to set in. I lift my thumb. I press the red end call button. The screen goes black. Then, I open the family group chat one last time. I do not type a goodbye. I do not send an emoji. I press leave conversation. A small pop-up asks me to confirm. Are you sure you want to leave? I press yes. The chat disappears from my phone. The silence on the balcony is absolute. There is no fanfare. There is no thunderclap. There is just the wind off the lake and the distant sound of the jazz band. But inside my chest, something massive has shifted. The invisible tether, the heavy braided rope of obligation and guilt that has been tied around my waist since birth, has snapped. It didn't snap with a bang. It just fell away. I look at Miles. He hasn't moved. He is witnessing the amputation, and he knows exactly what it cost. Are you okay? He asks. I am, I say, and I'm surprised to find that it is true. I thought it would hurt more. The hurt was holding on, Miles says, walking over and taking my hand. Letting go is the healing. I pull up my email app. I have one last thing to do. I have had a draft saved in my outbox for 3 days. It is a short email addressed to my parents and Brooke. It contains no insults. It contains no emotional outbursts. It is simply a list of facts. It lists the dates of the events they missed. It lists the amount of the savings account and the date it was withdrawn. It lists the timeline of my wedding planning versus Brooke's. And it ends with one paragraph. From today on, I am building my own family. The door to my life is still open, but the lock has been changed. You can only enter if you knock with respect. If you cannot do that, please do not knock at all. I hit send. I put the phone in my pocket. I am done. The record is set. The boundaries are drawn. The castle is secured. Come on, I say to Miles, grabbing the lapel of his tuxedo. I believe we have a first dance to attend to. We walk back inside. The warmth of the ballroom hits us. Smelling of joy and roasted lamb. The crowd cheers when they see us re-emerge. We walk to the center of the dance floor. The lights dim. The fairy lights above us twinkle like a galaxy. The band slows down, playing the opening chords of our song. Miles wraps his arms around my waist. I rest my head on his shoulder. We begin to move. It is a slow, swaying rhythm. I close my eyes. I can feel the fabric of my dress swirling around my legs. I can feel the solid beat of Miles's heart against my cheek. "I love you," he whispers. "I love you too," I say. Above us, through the high windows of the great hall, I know the drone is pulling away. I can picture the shot perfectly. The camera is rising, higher and higher into the night sky. It is looking down at the castle, glowing like a lantern in the darkness of the Vermont woods. It sees the lake, vast and silent. It sees the mountains, standing guard. It sees Silverhaven Castle shrinking, turning from a fortress into a small, shining jewel on the landscape. And on the screens of 3 million people around the world, the image is fading to black. The chat room is still scrolling, a river of hearts and affirmations, a community of strangers who witnessed a girl become a woman. They missed my wedding. My voiceover plays one last time, echoing through the speakers and out into the digital void. But in this castle, surrounded by the people who chose me, I married something far more important than a husband. I married my own worth. I finally said I do to myself. The screen goes dark. The story is over. But my life, my real, messy, beautiful, sovereign life, is just beginning. Thank you so much for listening to my story. I would love to know where you are tuning in from. So please leave a comment below sharing your location and your thoughts on how you would handle a family like mine. If you enjoyed this journey, please subscribe to the Lila Revenge Stories channel, like this video, and hit that hype button to help this story be heard by even more people who need to know they are not alone.